Now, the International Monetary Fund chief, Kristalina Georgieva, has said she told China's new top economic official, Li Huang, that China must accelerate its work to reach debt restructuring agreement for countries like Ghana, Zambia, and Ethiopia. Now, according to her, the Chinese representative during her visit was very approachable and had assured her that they want China to play a constructive role in resolving debt relief cases. Now, some major countries have faulted China for causing delays in setting up a restructuring agreement for heavily indebted countries that have asked for help under the common framework set up by the group of 20 major countries. Economies. Now, however, Georgieva noted China had been helpful in reaching a debt relief for some countries and encourages China to show progress on other cases. Now, the World Bank is also speaking on this particular program. My colleague Joseph Akable joins us with details. Joseph, what more do we know on this particular development? So my colleague Joseph Akable has. So Joseph, I'm trying to find out from you what more we have gathered on this development.
Hello, Grace. So first on the bit about the meeting between the IMF chief and the Chinese government before we get onto the World Bank issue. With that particular one, she held a meeting on Thursday and she's quoted as saying that the truth is, and I was very straightforward on that it takes far too long for that debt resolution. And so China has multiple institutions that deal with it, and that makes it a bit complicated, but they have to speed up their participation. Okay. And so she indicated that it is important that for countries that are in need of debt relief, this includes Chad, Sri Lanka, among others, China had been helpful to reach such an agreement with them to enable them obtain such support program from the IMF. And so she indicated in this particular meeting that it was important that they do same for countries like Ghana. There's a part of the story that also indicates that the point about the fact that the Chinese government did indicate its readiness to accept that particular request. Also, that assurance was given as well. And so the Chinese government did assure the IMF chief that, yes, they had heard what she had said and they were going to do their best to engage the various countries, including Ghana, to ensure that they're able to reach some form of agreement immediately.
Well, interesting. So the World Bank has also been speaking, right?
Yes, there's actually a report from the World Bank, an April report, and the report indicates that Ghana is yet to make progress with the G20 Common Framework debt treatment with its bilateral creditors. That is an African Pulse report that has revealed. Now, this is contrary to government sources which had indicated that they had reached an agreement, particularly with the Paris Club, to give way an International Monetary Fund support program. And so part of the report from the World Bank reads, Ghana requested a common framework debt treatment in early 2023. Hence, progress has yet to be made. In conjunction with the common framework engagement, Ghana conducted a voluntary domestic debt exchange program. Other countries engaged with private creditors and bilateral donors engaged in external restructuring efforts. Yet, these efforts cannot replace a comprehensive, well-coordinated solution for countries in debt distress. And so they go on to warn that there are still high debt issues and that Ghana's debt situation could worsen if care is not taken. The report ends with some policy recommendations for African countries, including Ghana. They are asking that restore macroeconomic stability, which is essential for growth, and raising interest rates to avoid policy conflicts that reduce the effectiveness of monetary transmission. They're also asking for some structural reforms that foster private investment to be top of their growth policy. And finally, African policymakers must seize the opportunities that are available to them as a result of the low carbon transition, which makes some grants available once countries are able to meet that.
Interesting. Grateful to you, Joseph Akable, with those details. Now, the electricity company of Ghana has vowed to show no mercy to defaulters as it disconnect private homes, including that of the district chief executive of Amansia South, Clement Opokun, who was engaged in power theft. Now, according to the task force, the DC, even without documentation, had mounted poles and drawn cables to his home on the blind side of the company. Led by the Ashanti Regional Director of the ECG, David Bodi Asamoah, the task force took away electrical cables used for the illegal service connection. Ohemin Teria has more.
Opoku's residence was among several private homes and public institutions disconnected on day one of the ECG revenue mobilization exercise at Mansour Dubia, the capital of Amansia South District. The district assembly office complex was the first to escape disconnection after 19,000 Ghana cedis unpaid electricity bills were settled instantly. The district's education and immigration offices, however, had their power supply cut by the task force. Some residential facilities, including the district assembly bungalows, also suffered disconnection for non-payment of bills. The official residence of the DCE for the area, Clement Opoku, was next to suffer power cut. The ward house had at least 4 floodlights on when the ECG Revenue Protection Task Force visited at 3:42 p.m. Ashanti Regional Director of ECG, Engineer David Bwadi Asamoah, tells JoyNews power supply to the DC's apartment was illegal.
This service serves the DCE for Amansia South. That's right. The service connection to the house is unauthorized. It doesn't go through any ECG document, so we term it as illegal extension. We are terminating the service, the illegality. Then if you need the service, you should apply. In the first place, there's no application. Okay. That is why we call it illegal. There's no application to ECG at all in any way. So now that we have identified it, we are removing the wires, and then every energy he has used over the period that he has used it will recover. Daytime, outside lights, you don't need it. So this is a complete waste. And this goes to make us believe that probably he's not paying for it.
Engineer Bwadi Asamoah described the GCE as his friend, but explained his stance of professionalism over friendship.
But this is my good friend. I mean, you know, he comes to my office, we chat. He calls me, he comes to my office, we chat. But this is purely a professional work that we are doing.
How do you feel to do this to your friend, a man that you say he's your friend? Now, from today onwards, he's going to sleep in darkness.
Yeah, as a professional, you need to distinguish friendship from professionalism. What I'm doing now is a pure professional work that I'm doing. We are friends. I mean, it doesn't change it. So I don't think that our friendship will, this will mar our friendship, unless the person decides. But as far as I'm concerned, friendship grows when the right things are done. So we are only helping him do the right things, and the friendship will grow.
From Mansour Dubia for JoyNews, Ohimetaria reporting.
Let's just stay in Kumasi because the Electricity Company of Ghana's task force has uncovered a disturbing trend of consumers using fake meters in a bid to evade payment of debt owed to the company. A 54-year-old electrician believed to be the mastermind behind such installations had been apprehended by the police. This comes at a time when the company is on an aggressive revenue collection drive across the country. Ohimini Terry again of our security desk has more in the following report.
The ECG Revenue Protection Task Force has been ruthless with customers who owe the power company in electricity bills and engaged in illegal connections. Out of the 5.7 billion Ghana cedis owed by electricity consumers nationwide, the Ashanti region accounts for 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, representing 21% of debt owed. The task force, whilst on operation, detected some fake meters installed by the suspect at Kunsu and its environs. Owners alleged John Fofi supplied the meters. Further investigations led to the arrest of the suspect in his hideout, where the police retrieved 8 fake meters. Engineer Kofi Danso is the Ashanti Regional Revenue Protection Manager.
A team from the Ashanti SBU headquarters that went to Kunsu in line with the revenue mobilization exercise. Then we chanced upon a customer who has abandoned the official ECG recognized meter and have installed these unauthorized or fake meters because there's debt in the original ECG meter. We intended to arrest him directly, but then he led us to the corporate who came to install the meter for him. So yesterday the corporate was arrested, sent to the Buakwa police station, and then we went with the corporate to his house, and we found additional meters. Together with our moratorium, if you all remember, ECGMD gave a moratorium that all people who have this unauthorized or meters that are unknown to ECG come forward, then let ECG help you regularize it. That exercise expired in December. Unfortunately, unscrupulous people have made duplicates of our moratorium notice, and they keep installing these fake meters for customers, and then when they install it, they give you that moratorium, indicating that as if it's ECG who has authorized them to do that.
According to Engineer Danso, the task force will leave no stone unturned in its quest to block all revenue leakages, including dealing with illegal connections and fake meters. At least 15 million Ghana cedis has been retrieved from customers who owe ECG in the Ashanti region. But how widespread is the issue of fake ECG meters in the region? Engineer Danso again.
This is affecting us seriously. It is all over the place. A lot of the customers who owe us, they abandon our meter and they go for these fake meters so that they never pay. I have a lot of cases. They charge between the 1,000 and as much as 2,500. And they install this. At Risk Coast alone, if I'm not mistaken, more than 50 customers were using these illegal meters. So we have disconnected them, we have summoned them.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Oimiteria reporting.
Now, the nation has in the last 7 days been experiencing load shedding, mainly in the ECG distribution areas in the southern part of the country. Now, this was as a result of maintenance works being carried out by the Ghana Gas Company. We understand that the company has completed the maintenance works but is yet to begin operating at full capacity. My colleague Joseph Akable has been checking with other power sector players to get more details, and he joins me live on Zoom now. So Joseph, first, we understand there are some issues with gas supply from Nigeria, for example.
Yes, Kojo. I mean, there has been a challenge with the gas to be received from Nigeria. This has resulted in a loss of about 200 megawatts of power, as what was to come from Nigeria yesterday didn't come in. And so this is not something that's within the control of the utilities companies in Ghana. What this means is that there's a shortfall in available power. So during peak hours, our sources tell us that we are looking at some shortfall of about 400 megawatts and more than 200 within off-peak periods. And this is not just due to the Nigerian situation that I alluded to. There's a bit about not having adequate fuel to power other available plants as well.
Now, we understand that Ghana Gas is operating, but not at the optimum level now. From what the other players tell you, will there be stable power supply beyond today?
I mean, the load shedding, as was advertised, is supposed to end today. What we can confirm is that from today, the power situation will generally improve, but they would only be able to get to the level that they were previously once the Ghana Gas plant is operating at full capacity. That will be one. And the second will be the ability to get as many plants as possible running due to the adequate supply of fuel. And so, yes, there will be an improvement, but it will not immediately get to the level that we expect to. And so as the days go by, with the improvement from the Ghana Gas and the subsequent availability of resources to power the other available plants, then we can get to that optimum level.
Okay, so it means that we should expect that the load shedding may continue after today, right?
To an extent, but not at the level that we are seeing currently.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So that's Joseph Akable with our energy desk there. Now, controversies, postponement and disqualifications characterize the just ended vetting of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC. Fierce internal competition awaits the NDC as the party gets ready for its parliamentary primaries on 13th May. Now, it's concluded vetting of parliamentary nominees in many parts of the country on Tuesday, with some still outstanding. Let's start from the Ashanti region, where Nana Aljuma reports the Asawase constituency was charged as the incumbent MP Muntaka Mubarak and his contender Masaudu Mubarak went through the vetting process.
There was heavy police deployment in the party office as supporters of the two aspirants thronged the vetting center to support their favorites. Both incumbent MP Muntaka Mubarak and his contender Masaud Mubarak sailed through the process. Muntaka Mubarak is confident of retaining the seat.
Well, obviously, how many people get people to support them the way they have been supported? You don't get people to continue supporting you after 2 decades of being a member of parliament. For you to get people to continue supporting you for 2 decades, it means there's something you are doing right. And for me, I only thank Allah for all what He has done for me. And by this support, I know by the grace of God, Allah is not done with me.
But Masawood Mubarak says he will represent the people of Asawase after the 2024 parliamentary election.
What we mean by change is we mean progress for the people of Asawase. Over the 18-year period of the incumbent MP, we haven't had much in terms of human development or progress. So inshallah, when they say change, they mean progress for the people of the constituency. When they say change, they mean an Asawase MP who would be corruption-free.
The 3-day vetting process saw 71 male and 14 females participating, with no candidate being disqualified. 6 constituencies will have unopposed candidates, including the Kumawu constituency seat, which is now vacant following demise of the sitting member of parliament. Kwesi Amankwa will contest the Kumawu by-election. Samuel Abwaje will run in the Obuasi East constituency. Joseph Azuma for Akrofum, Samuel Prempe Jr. for Bekwai, Hamza Swala for Menshan North, and Shamuddin Mohammed Kamel for Old Tafo. Kwesi Amankwa is hopeful his party will capture the Kumawu seat from the NPP.
We were prepared a year ago because we have taken that seat very seriously. We need to take that seat back for NDC. So we've been prepared a year ago, and now we are ready for the battle. Even if we have to go to vote tomorrow, we are ready. And we are 100% sure that we are going to win the seat for NDC.
In the Ejura Sechedumase constituency, 4 persons, including the former constituency chairman, are contesting the incumbent MP.
I think it's no news to us as women have been marginalized from the political sphere for years now. And I think that as a people or as a society, it's about time that we create equal opportunities for the both sexes.
2018, I was elected the constituency chairman. I was maintained last year. But looking at the situation on the ground as of now, if I don't come, the constituency may sink.
The Ejura MP, Mohammed Bawa Brahma, is confident of winning the contest.
The former chairman is not a new person to me. I beat him in 2015. He came for primaries. I beat him soundly. So for him, I can't say why I'm hearing that. So for him, I'm not surprised. And I know very well that he's somebody who's ambitious. I knew very well that he was somebody who wants to go forward.
The NDC is expected to hold presidential parliamentary primaries on May 13th. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
So let's now head to the Northeast region, where leadership of the party have vowed to strictly apply party guidelines against any candidate who decides to go independent after losing at the party primaries. Now, the NDC has also urged aspirants to run clean campaign devoid of personal attacks and insult ahead of the election scheduled to take place next month. Now, speaking to JoyNews, the Northeast Regional Secretary Ibrahim Tia said 22 aspirants were vetted and approved to contest the parliamentary primaries on the ticket of the NDC in the 6 constituencies in the region. Correspondent Elias Otanko has more.
In all, 22 aspirants filed their nominations to contest the party primaries in the 6 constituencies in the region. All 22 aspirants are men without any female representation. In the Walewale constituency, 3 people have filed to challenge the former parliamentary candidate Abdallah Abubakar. 5 persons filed to contest in the Yagaba Kubori constituency. In the Bumpurgu constituency, 3 persons have joined the race against the current member of parliament, Abednego Bandim. 3 persons, including the immediate former parliamentary candidate Bipo Banabu, filed for the party's contest in the Yunyu constituency. The Cherponi constituency recorded 4 aspirants, whilst 1 person filed to challenge the current MP in the Nalergu Gambaga constituency, Alhaji Alhaji Baba Isifo Seidu. On Tuesday, the 4th of April, all the aspirants were vetted by the committee led by Alhaji Hudu Yahya at the party's office in the regional capital, Naleruku. The vetting process, which started in the morning, ended around 10 p.m. Ibrahim Tia is the party's regional secretary and a member of the vetting committee.
To contest the parliamentary primaries in the Northeast region, 22 filed successfully, and we vetted 22 today, and we have approved all the 22. It's just a few that we have asked them to send us some better particulars for us to just add up. And we are giving some of them up to by the close of Thursday.
According to the regional secretary, the party will apply sanctions against any aspirant who will go independent after losing at the primaries. He further added that the aspirant had been admonished to engage in clean and decent campaigns ahead of the election.
We've advised all the aspirants, and they've all signed undertaking that if should they win, they will still remain and campaign for the party. And if should they lose, they will still remain and campaign for the party. We've already discussed and nobody has agreed to go on independent.
The NDC in the Northeast region currently has 2 sitting MPs after winning the Bumpurgu and Nalerugu constituency and losing the Cherponi, Yunyo and Yagaba Kubore constituencies to the NPP at the last general elections. Perhaps the most difficult constituency for the NDC to win in the region remains the Walewale constituency due to, among other things, the influence of the Vice President, Alhaji Mahamudu Baumia. A former Northern Regional Minister, Mr. Abdallah Abubakar, has been the party's candidate in the constituency. This time, he's facing 3 challenges. Speaking to Joy News after his successful vetting, Mr. Abuba said he was confident about winning the election.
I have no doubt whatsoever that I am going to emerge victorious at the end of the day. I bet you may want to follow the process. The 3 other contestants will not be able to garner 30% of the total votes.
Regarding his new strategy to win the election in the constituency in the face of the huge influence of the Vice President, Mr. Abuba answered that he had learned a lot of lessons from the previous contest.
2016, I lost the seat by a margin of 2,580 votes when he was a running mate. But this time round, as a sitting Vice President, we reduced the deficit and we lost by 1,675 votes. So it tells you that we are learning from what is happening, and we are very hopeful that nothing will stop us from winning the election.
Pedestrians are alarmed by the increasing disregard for road safety regulations by drivers on the road. Now, according to them, even at zebra crossings where drivers are supposed to reduce their speed for passengers to cross, that has not been adhered to, which usually lead to fatal accidents. They are therefore calling on authorities to ensure the drivers comply with the safety regulations. My colleague Samuel Imbura has visited some highways in Accra and reports.
The black and white stripes you have seen on this road is not for the purposes of decoration, but it is a signal to drivers that this is for the passage of pedestrians. So for that reason, you have to slow down. But that is not a situation here on the Awoshi Ablekuma highways here in Accra. The residents are alarmed about the fact that the drivers are flouting the road safety regulations and killing whilst injuring people as a result of that. They are expecting that authorities should educate the drivers and also put in place drastic measures to address the pedestrian knockdowns here at Awoshi.
Say, wabusu any bit here. Ubon say, I was sending a famupa. Would need 2 years' time. Boy, beer or tone in Yama.
The accidents that occur on this road are uncountable. People get seriously injured and die from crashes on this road.
Last week,
even last week, 2 boys sustained injuries from a motor crash. Our major problem is these drivers don't respect the pedestrian signals. They drive at top speed. We want authorities to act on the situation because we are living in danger.
Drivers don't normally stop when they even see pedestrian crossing, unless, let's say, the road is free for us to pass. But if they see us here, they just go. They don't stop. And that is the problem.
There have been frequent accidents on this stretch of the road because the drivers do not obey the pedestrian signals. Instead of them to slow down for us to pass, they drive at high speed. I lost my sister in an accident on this road last year.
The drivers, they knock children as if they don't know the regulation. So I think if we have a big zebra crossing to let them see or to know that there's a zebra crossing here. At times the signs are here, but many of the drivers doesn't know that the zebra crossing is here.
The drivers don't respect pedestrians. We have to run to be able to cross the road. Just last week, a woman was killed by a speeding driver. No one cares about the pedestrians, whether school children, old people, or whoever you are. What can solve the situation is for the driver to be disciplined.
There have been efforts by authorities to ensure that cases related to pedestrian knockdowns on our road are reduced drastically. This has been manifested in the first quarter report of the National Road Safety Authority, which indicates that pedestrian knockdown has reduced by over 23%. And there are still collaborative efforts to ensure that the situation is addressed or reduced drastically for 2023. But until drivers comply with the road safety regulations, this particular target will be a mirage. Reporting for JoyNews, Samuel Mbura, Accra.
Now, have you ever wondered why Muslims, particularly women, dress much more decently in the month of Ramadan compared to the 11 other months? Well, in the following report, my colleague Anna Sabet in our Ramadan series has been speaking with Malama Aisha Mohammed Swala, a public speaker, an author and life coach, for more on this development.
In Islam, the rule of dress for women is modesty. Muslim women are required to observe the hijab in front of any man they could theoretically marry. Whilst modesty rules are open to a wide range of interpretations, some Muslim women wear full-body garments that only expose the eyes, although there is no Quranic text requiring this extreme. For Malama Aisha Mohammed Swala, an author, a life coach and a public speaker, being modest as a Muslim woman goes beyond the mere covering of the human body.
Modesty is not just about the veil itself, it's more than that. Modesty is about our identity as Muslim women. It is about our haya, our behavior, and the shyness between us and our Lord, the shyness between us and the angels, the shyness between us and the people surrounding us, and the shyness between us and ourselves. So modesty is beyond that. It's about everything that concludes us as Muslim women.
Well, a visit to a Muslim community in and outside Ramadan reveals a clear disparity on how Muslim women dress, with most of them looking more covered in the month of Ramadan compared to the 11 other months. Malama Aisha says this shows how Muslim women endeavor towards changing from bad to good when Ramadan visits.
Normally, we see Muslim women trying their best to change in Ramadan, but the problem is after the Ramadan, they go back to the way they are. And I'll not say that it is bad, but there's no harm in trying. But everything is about the intention, because intention is in the heart. And the sincerity in intention, the scholars are saying that it is something that is between the Lord and his creator, and even the angels cannot interfere. So far as you are trying your best to change in Ramadan, then try your best, because Ramadan is about like connection, about taqwa, to gain God consciousness. So the intention comes first. So far as you intend to change, then start with the dressing, but don't change after Ramadan, because the Lord of Ramadan is the Lord of the rest of the month, and you cannot fool anyone but yourself.
For Barhat Jamal, a radio presenter at Gaskia FM, she tells me how excited she feels seeing Muslim sisters dressed decently during this period.
When it comes to Ramadan, I can say there is this compulsory or by force iman that comes to the heart. Yeah, I feel excited because they are following the teaching of Islam. Because that's how Islam asks us to dress, and they are following it. And I even pray for them to continue. That's why I pray for them to continue. Yeah.
Ishafat Mohammed, also known as Cindy Shaban on her part, tells me more Muslim women dress much more decently during the month of Ramadan due to the intensity of various lectures organized by Islamic scholars within the month.
During Ramadan, immediately you see a Muslim lady, you know that she's a Muslim. And even the malams, the imams, during Ramadan, you see that the preaching is high. They will preaching, you have to dress like this, you have to do this. But if you are not in the Ramadan, unless maybe it's Friday, you go to mosques and listen, or even the ladies, they only listen to preachings or Islamic teachings in Ramadan.
To keep this modest form of dressing beyond Ramadan, particularly for young children, Barhat suggests that Muslim parents need to change their style of child upbringing from being harsh to being polite to their children.
For parents, I think they have a very big role to play, though some are trying their best, but the kids are not listening. So they have to be very disciplined. Very disciplined. I mean very disciplined. Because if you talk to the girl and she's not listening, you have to find some ways to talk to her. Because there are some ladies, when you talk to them politely, they will listen rather than shouting on them. So if you are talking harsh and you're not listening, talk to them politely, they will change.
Malam Aisha was, however, quick to urge Muslim women who are trying to change within this month to do so with a pure intention. By doing so, this will become a habit even outside Ramadan.
First of all, we need to ask ourselves, what is the objective of Ramadan? And Ramadan, the objective of Ramadan is to gain taqwa, which is God consciousness. And this God consciousness will change everything about us. It is the light that is in the internal and external. So far as you renew your intention in a very good way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to put the light within you in Ramadan and after Ramadan. It's all about intention. There's no harm in trying. Even if you try to change, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to help you. But if you have the intention to just change for Ramadan and after Ramadan, I'm not sure you are going to gain anything.
She wants Muslim men to be supportive of such women instead of pointing accusing fingers at them, which would in turn discourage them from embarking on this pious path.
For those people who are pointing finger, you should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because your sister is trying her best. You should support her. This is like, we want men in the society who actually support women to do their best. So please try to support them, even if you think that the person will go back. No, just your support maybe can change the person, you don't know.
Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Teachman.
Well, prayer in the Christian life is key in communing with the Supreme God. And depending on the pressing issue at hand, the place to pray is critical. Now, this was demonstrated by Jesus Christ when he spent the eve of his crucifixion with his disciples at Gethsemane to engage God on the task in wait for him. Well, as Christians mark the death of Christ, my colleague Emefa Etiamwa Eli walks us through some of these critical prayer sites, including the Western Wall and the pool of Bethesda, when the blind man received his healing after sitting by it for 38 years. Details in this series from the Holy Land.
In present-day Israel, Gethsemane is located within a valley between the Mount of Olives, where Jesus ascended into heaven, and the wall demarcating the old Jerusalem from the new. Gethsemane was the last place Jesus spent the night praying to God, saying, quote, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will, unquote. It's also the place the soldiers, with the support of Judas Iscariot, found and arrested him for crucifixion. It's currently a relatively small garden of about 13,000 square feet. It sits right at the foot of the Mount of Olives. Gethsemane hosts a couple of the oldest olive trees believed to have been planted from the original ones found here at the time Jesus and his disciples visited the garden to pray. It's among the highly patronized tourist sites in Jerusalem. Just beside the garden is a temple for obvious reasons, like the many other holy sites. Across the road in front of it is the way leading tourists into the Old Jerusalem. Here, tourists and pilgrims are trooping to have a look at the remnants of the Pool of Bethesda. The remains of the ancient architectural design gives the impression the area was once an intricate, complex, and a large temple within which the pool is situated. Today, it's very dry. What is left for one to see are the large corner and door pillars, frames, the heavy limestones used for the construction, and the multiple divisions or rooms in it. The Western Wall, also known as the Wailing Wall, is considered the most holy site in Jerusalem. All three major religions in Israel ascribe highly to its religious significance. Jews, Muslims, and Christians here believe the Western Wall to be the remains of the larger retaining wall of the hill of the Temple Mount. That's the place where the first temple was built by Solomon, the son of David. The spot of this temple is believed to be the same place where Abraham tied up Isaac for sacrifice. It is also thought to be the place Jacob had his dream, and it still bears a significant and divine presence of God. The Western Wall has been a major bone of contention and conflict among all three religions to date. Jews, Muslims, and Christians go there to pray on a daily basis. Today, the prayer area has been divided into two, one side for men and the other for women. Visitors entering this place are subjected to intense security scrutiny. The area is under a 24-hour heavy security surveillance. Despite the tensed atmosphere and its piety, many still get the opportunity to relax and make good memory of themselves. And so did I, in fact, with the security officers at post. Such fun. My name is Amofa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for JoyNews, Jerusalem.
Hi everyone, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. IT company CompuGhana says it is poised to strategically position itself to support government's digitalization agenda. The company has launched a new showroom in the airport residential area in Accra. And here's more in this report.
Ghana has been operating in Ghana since 2006 with a vision to be the most trusted partner in information technology products, services and solutions across the African sub-region. Speaking to Joy Business, Hassan Ghazal said the company will continue to provide high-quality IT products and services to Ghanaians at affordable prices.
The latest one we did last week. We opened early this week. CompuGhana, everybody's supposed to come and see since it's the best showroom ever in terms of premium design inside. You can check the display inside the showroom. from IT appliances to everything. We have a lot of new things we started now. Is about security things. You can later take a snapshot about it and you can see it.
The company also provides repair and maintenance services for IT products, as well as installation and networking services for businesses. Additionally, Compute Ghana offers training and support services for individuals and businesses who want to improve their IT skills and knowledge.
Now, Senior Country Manager at accounting and auditing firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, Vish Eshawo, says it will be difficult for the government or the president to review the 3 tax measures passed by Parliament. Businesses have been pushing for a review by the president and calling on him to refuse to sign the bills. But speaking on PM Express Business Edition, Mr. Eshawo said there are few options for the president now.
I'm not a lawyer. Yeah. Nor do I nor do I claim to know about parliamentary or procedure of that nature. But as far as I know, once the legislature has passed a bill into law, the only thing left is to receive presidential assent. I stand to be corrected, but I do not believe the president can choose to strike out clause 1, 2, and 5, for example, and leave the rest. So, to the best of my knowledge, the best the president can do is decline to give assent. But
he has 90 days, I understand, to work within that. If he doesn't do that, he needs to write back to Parliament and give his reasons.
So that's the point, that Parliament...
All right, that's it for business. Thanks for watching, everyone. News Desk continues after this break.
So welcome back. Let's talk about tech now. And Kobe Spiky joins us live now with some tech talk stories. Kobe, so what are we doing today? Kobe, kindly unmute so we can follow you. The technology man is being dealt with by technology, you know. Yeah.
Yes. So today we're talking about ChatGPT as always, and people are using ChatGPT for a lot of things, good things, and guess what? Bad things as well. So some people are using ChatGPT to generate valid Windows keys. So, you know, if you use Windows and you don't buy it officially, you need to buy a